a 17-year-old girl, a car in the middle of the night, and two friends who never made it back.
Strongsville, the trial for a teen accused of murder is underway. She was involved in a deadly crash last year when prosecutors say 18-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla, who was 17 at the time of the crash, purposefully drove her Toyota Camry into a building while traveling at more than 100 miles per hour.
No one knows what really happened on that empty road. Only the security camera witnessed the fateful moment that left the entire nation in shock.
An admissible statement, and she said, "Dominic, I'm going to crash this car."
Now, Shirilla's defense team says she did not crash the car on purpose and that Shirilla was instead being reckless.
But was it truly an accident, or a plan carefully set in motion? The answer might just send chills down your spine. Mackenzie Shirilla was born on August 2, 2004. To Natalie Shirilla and John Stephen, and grew up in Strongsville, Ohio, in what appeared to be a peaceful and loving family. She was raised by her parents, Natalie and Steve Shirilla, in a comfortable middle-class neighborhood where everyone believed this little girl was destined for a bright future. Mackenzie's childhood was remembered by many as that of a sweet, sociable, and somewhat spoiled child. But as she entered her teenage years, things began to change. Like many teens of her generation, Mackenzie became obsessed with social media, especially TikTok, where she frequently shared videos about her lifestyle, fashion, and personal style. Her account quickly gained a large following, even attracting clothing brands that sent her products for promotion and review. Classmates recalled that Mackenzie admired Regina George, the iconic character from the movie Mean Girls, and often mimicked her style: confident, powerful, and sometimes a bit arrogant. At Strongsville High School, Mackenzie was considered a standout student, surrounded by a squad of over 100 girls who either followed her or wanted to be part of her circle. Yet behind the shine of a popular social media teen, many began to notice a darker side. Mackenzie grew more self-centered, quick-tempered, and vengeful when things didn't go her way. With her striking appearance and strong personality, she almost always got what she wanted, but in doing so, gradually lost her genuine friendships. While her parents still believed their daughter was a well-behaved young girl, they had no idea Mackenzie had started using harmful substances, engaging in reckless and defiant behavior, and had even vandalized a church while under the influence. These actions didn't stop there. They escalated as she continued attending Strongsville High School. At Strongsville High School, Mackenzie met Dominic Russo, a young man deeply loved by everyone in the community. From an early age, Dominic stood out for his sense of humor, kindness, and his ability to spread positivity wherever he went. He was always a source of encouragement to his friends and a source of pride to his siblings. With an ambitious spirit and a desire to live each day to the fullest, Dominic quickly established himself as a promising young entrepreneur, an active athlete, and even an aspiring music producer at just 20 years old. His dreams went far beyond personal success. Dominic hoped to join the military to serve his country and help others, believing that life only holds true meaning when lived for the sake of others. Between Mackenzie and Dominic, a powerful connection quickly formed. By 2021, they officially became a couple. At first, they kept their relationship private, but before long, it was public across social media, where their radiant photos together spread among classmates. Their bright smiles and hand-in-hand pictures made everyone believe they were the perfect couple of Strongsville High. Their families met often and gradually grew close, and everyone believed their love was strong enough to lead to a beautiful future. Both of them eagerly looked forward to their high school graduation, the beginning of adulthood, and a new chapter in life they believed they would always share together. But that happiness soon began to crumble when Dominic started to see another side of Mackenzie's personality. She became controlling, constantly checking his phone, growing jealous whenever he talked to someone else, and demanding that he always put her first. The pressure made Dominic feel suffocated, especially as his friends began to notice he was no longer the same person he once was. Despite the growing tension, they tried to maintain a picture-perfect image on social media, posting smiling photos as if nothing was wrong. Behind those smiles, however, Dominic often confided in friends that he felt exhausted and trapped. Eventually, he decided to end the relationship to regain his freedom. Mackenzie couldn't accept that. She began showing up at Dominic's house repeatedly, crying, pleading, and then turning to threats. One night, she screamed outside his home, shouting that he would regret it if he didn't open the door. Terrified and helpless, Dominic recorded the entire incident, his voice trembling as he tried to calm her down.
Key my car. Tell me to break the door.
I will key your car and you do not let me in the house.
You're going to key my car.
If you don't let me in the house, yes.
Dominic tried his best to keep everything under control. He spoke gently, hoping to calm Mackenzie down and make her understand that they both needed some time apart to think. But each time Dominic firmly refused to get back together, Mackenzie's emotions exploded more violently. Her moods swung unpredictably. One moment she was crying and begging, telling him he meant everything to her, and the next she was angry, throwing out warnings that he would regret it if he didn't do what she wanted.
Dom, if you do not open, you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking. I'm dead ass.
What do you mean?
You know it. That's exactly what I mean. You don't even know exactly what I mean. You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious problem.
After all the tension and threats, Dominic began to see Mackenzie's true nature, a girl who easily lost control and would do anything to hold on. He was certain that ending the relationship had been the right decision. Though their breakup had been filled with heated arguments, they eventually got back together. This time, Mackenzie seemed different, less aggressive and more gentle, leading Dominic to believe that things might return to how they once were. She even made plans for them to attend a friend's party together, and Dominic looked forward to that evening with genuine excitement. On the night of July 30th, 2022, Mackenzie seemed to have planned every detail of what she was about to do. She arrived with Dominic at a summer party in Strongsville, where bright lights, loud music, and laughter filled the air. Friends were delighted to see the couple, once thought to be over, now holding hands and smiling as if nothing had ever come between them. They danced together, clinked glasses, and soaked in the lively atmosphere bursting with joy. For Dominic, that night felt like a relief. He believed all misunderstandings were behind them, that the love they once shared had returned to what it used to be. But behind Mackenzie's radiant smile and gentle eyes was an unsettling calm, as if she were hiding something. At that party, Mackenzie and Dominic happened to run into Davion Flanagan, one of Dominic's closest friends, who also happened to know Mackenzie from before. Davion was 19 at the time, a young man with remarkable resilience after a childhood spent in the foster care system before being adopted in 2010. Despite the hardships he had faced, Davion radiated a rare kind of positivity. He was friendly, genuine, and had a way of making everyone around him feel valued. After graduating from Strongsville High School, where he had been a standout member of the football team, Davion began training as a barber, dreaming of one day opening his own shop in his hometown, a simple yet passionate goal. Dominic, his best friend, shared that same driven spirit. Both Dominic and Davion were bright young men with promising futures, carrying faith in life and hope for what lay ahead. That night, the two of them and Mackenzie enjoyed the party together, laughing, dancing, and staying with friends until the early hours of the morning. Around 5 a.m., Mackenzie gently woke Dominic up so they could head home. As Dominic was getting ready to leave, his close friend Davion asked if he could catch a ride since he was going in the same direction. Just one day before Mackenzie's 18th birthday, the three of them, Mackenzie, 17, Dominic, 20, and Davion, 19, left the party together in her 2018 Toyota Camry. Mackenzie sat behind the wheel. Dominic took the front passenger seat, and Davion sat in the back. At first, Mackenzie drove slowly, keeping a steady pace, and the sound of their laughter filled the quiet morning air. Notably, Mackenzie was the only one wearing a seatbelt. As the car turned from Pearl Road onto Progress Drive, a straight, empty stretch just over a mile long, surrounded by silent industrial buildings, Mackenzie suddenly began to accelerate. She pressed her foot down hard on the gas pedal and didn't let go. Within seconds, the car's speed surged to 100 miles per hour, racing through the industrial complex and heading straight toward the end of the road, where a brick building stood in its path. In that decisive moment, instead of slowing down, she sharply turned the wheel and crashed directly into the structure at full speed. The impact was so violent that the Camry was nearly destroyed in an instant, a devastating moment that ended everything, leaving behind a scene of wreckage in the stillness of Strongsville's morning. That Sunday morning was quiet, with the area around Progress Drive surrounded only by warehouses and industrial buildings, completely deserted. It took nearly 45 minutes after the crash for a passing driver to notice the wreckage and immediately call the police. Within minutes, Strongsville officers arrived at the scene, but what they saw left everyone stunned. The 2018 Toyota Camry was almost unrecognizable. The front end was completely crushed, the frame twisted, and debris scattered across the road and nearby grass. The first officer to approach the site reported over the radio in shock that the car appeared to have split in two.
This car split in two.
The severity of the crash was immediately evident, prompting the officer to call for additional units, while reporting that at least one person was still trapped inside the mangled vehicle.
Radio, there's an occupant inside. Send us a squad now. This is not a fresh accident either. She's been here for a while.
The officer then discovered another person inside the wreckage.
Radio, we got at least 2 occupants in here. No one's moving. Oh my God.
The officer then found a third person inside the vehicle.
Oh my God. ×3, guys. Radio, 3 occupants. No one's conscious. No one's breathing.
As the officers moved closer, they discovered that the driver still showed faint signs of breathing. Mackenzie was firmly trapped in the driver's seat, her body and head wedged tightly against the crushed frame, making it impossible to pull her out by hand. The scene was heartbreaking. Her fluffy slippers were still pressed against the gas pedal, a clear sign that her foot had never left it from the moment the car sped off. Officers immediately called for urgent assistance from the fire and rescue team, knowing that only specialized equipment could cut through the twisted steel to free her. While waiting, even the most seasoned officers, men and women who had witnessed countless tragedies, were visibly shaken and filled with sorrow. They knew that in just a few fleeting seconds, 2 young lives full of dreams had been lost forever, and another, the girl behind the wheel, now lay motionless amid the mangled wreckage.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Heaven.
48-year-old.
I know. Jesus Christ. This is the worst I've ever seen. Rest in peace, buddy.
Mackenzie was the only survivor of the crash, while Dominic and Davion did not make it. The remains of the Toyota Camry were scattered across the scene, and the brick wall it struck was so severely damaged that the site looked like the aftermath of an industrial explosion. When the fire and rescue teams arrived, it took them considerable time to use hydraulic tools to cut through the car's frame and free Mackenzie, who was unconscious and suffering from multiple injuries. She was airlifted to Cleveland Clinic Hospital, where doctors performed several surgeries in succession to save her life. Toxicology reports later showed that Mackenzie tested positive for THC, a prohibited substance commonly found in cannabis, and inside the car, officers discovered a bag containing hallucinogenic mushrooms, along with a small digital scale. At first, investigators believed the crash might have been caused by substance use leading to a loss of control. However, as they dug deeper, they began noticing troubling inconsistencies. The trajectory of the car, the sudden acceleration, and the clear imprint of her foot on the gas pedal led them to suspect this was not a mere accident, but possibly an intentional act. When Mackenzie regained consciousness in the hospital, she broke down in tears and told doctors it was all her fault for causing her boyfriend's passing. Though her words sounded like a confession made in panic and guilt, to detectives, it was a crucial clue, enough to begin treating the case as a deliberate act rather than an accidental tragedy. After several long surgeries, Mackenzie was finally discharged from the hospital and returned home to her parents. While the Shirilla family rejoiced that their daughter had survived, on the other side, the Russo and Flanagan families were grieving as they prepared funerals for the 2 young men whose lives had ended in tragedy. Meanwhile, the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office launched a full-scale investigation, and the early findings quickly turned against Mackenzie. When police interviewed friends of both her and Dominic, a deeply troubling picture began to emerge. Throughout their turbulent relationship, Mackenzie had repeatedly made alarming statements and threats. She had once vowed to damage Dominic's car, tried to force her way into his home when he refused to see her, and at one point even hinted that she would use her own car as a weapon to cause harm. What caught investigators' attention the most was the testimony from several friends who recalled that just 2 weeks before the crash, Mackenzie had looked directly at Dominic and said she would drive this car right now. Dominic's fear at that moment was so intense that he called his mother, begging her to come pick him up because he felt unsafe sitting in the car with Mackenzie, who was driving recklessly and at dangerously high speeds. Authorities and the public quickly noticed that Mackenzie showed little sign of genuine remorse after the tragedy she had caused. Instead of maintaining silence to honor the victims, she sparked outrage online by posting a photo on Dominic's obituary page with a bizarre and unsettling layout that one newspaper described as tone-deaf and twisted to the point of incomprehension. Many saw the act as deeply insensitive and disrespectful to the pain of the victims' families. But things didn't stop there. Just weeks later, Mackenzie appeared at a Halloween party wearing a disturbing costume, half representing a harmful substance, half symbolizing a lifeless body. She posed for photos, smiling and laughing with friends, and later uploaded the entire set of her costume pictures to her social media account. And that still wasn't all. Just a few weeks after the devastating crash, while the victims' families were still drowning in grief, Mackenzie returned to social media, casually posting videos on TikTok as if nothing had ever happened.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
In a shocking post, Mackenzie even declared that she was the person you died for.
Gotta figure like a pin, gotta figure like a doll. Don't care if you think I'm dumb, I don't care at all. Can't best, sweetie, if I wanna be adored. I'm the girl you die for.
Not long after being released from the hospital, Mackenzie once again sparked public outrage when she appeared at a concert, still in a wheelchair due to her injuries, yet acting carefree and cheerful, laughing as if no tragedy had ever taken place. Around the same time, several social media posts surfaced from both Mackenzie's and her mother's accounts, where they were seen chatting and seeking modeling opportunities. The public was furious, viewing these actions as deeply disrespectful toward the grief of the victims' families. Some people even emailed investigators screenshots of Mackenzie's messages and photos exchanged with a modeling agency in Los Angeles, presenting them as evidence of her indifference and insensitivity toward the loss of the two young men. As the wave of criticism spread, investigators quietly continued their work. They conducted a third technical examination of the 2018 Toyota Camry, which confirmed that the vehicle had no mechanical issues or malfunctions that could have contributed to the crash. Data extracted from the car's black box, the device that records every operational detail, revealed that as soon as Mackenzie turned onto Progress Drive, she pressed the accelerator pedal to the floor and kept it there until the very moment the car struck the building. Throughout the entire short distance, there was no indication that the brakes had ever been applied. More notably, the data showed that just before impact, the steering wheel had been sharply turned 142 degrees to the right and then to the left, evidence that reinforced investigators' conclusion that Mackenzie's actions were fully controlled and that the crash could not be considered an accident. It was the surveillance footage that became the key factor leading investigators to question Mackenzie's actions. Before that, her erratic behavior and disturbing conduct after the crash had drawn criticism, but there wasn't enough concrete evidence to reach a conclusion. However, once the black box data was compared with surveillance videos collected from businesses around the Strongsville industrial area, the full picture began to come into focus. Multiple security cameras had captured the Toyota Camry's final journey that morning, including 2 decisive clips. In the first, Mackenzie drove calmly, slowing down to make a turn and even signaling to the right, just like a cautious driver, showing no signs of losing control due to any harmful substance. But in the second clip, Just seconds after entering the final stretch of Progress Drive, Mackenzie suddenly floored the gas pedal. The car accelerated rapidly before sharply turning and crashing directly into the brick building at the end of the road. The abrupt change in her driving behavior and the precision of her movements proved that she was fully conscious and in control. When all the data was pieced together, from speed and steering to the exact moment of acceleration, investigators concluded that the horrific crash could not have been an accident, but rather the result of a deliberate act. When investigators reviewed the entire route on Google Maps, they could clearly see the terrifying extent of the crash at a speed of 100 miles per hour. Mackenzie had driven straight down Progress Drive, heading directly toward the brick building at the end of the road, veering slightly onto the grass to avoid rocks and signs before slamming into the corner of the structure. At that speed, the catastrophic outcome was inevitable, and such a precise trajectory all but ruled out the possibility of a random accident. As the investigation expanded, data from Mackenzie's phone and GPS revealed a troubling detail. Just days before the crash, she had driven to that same area multiple times, spending long periods circling the deserted stretch of road in Strongsville's industrial district, a place few people ever visited early in the morning. Investigators believed she had gone there to scout the location as part of a premeditated plan. They found no reasonable explanation for why a teenage girl would repeatedly drive alone to such an isolated area. What shocked people even more was Mackenzie's demeanor after the incident. Instead of showing remorse or taking responsibility, she appeared detached, almost dismissive of the consequences. During one exchange with police shortly after the crash, when asked what kind of punishment she might face, she casually replied that it would probably be a 10-year license suspension or something like that. That cold remark sent chills through both investigators and the public. But what Mackenzie had done would lead to consequences far more serious than she seemed willing to acknowledge. Her repeated visits to the area before the tragedy, the pattern of threats directed at Dominic throughout their turbulent relationship, the reckless speed on that short stretch of road leading to the fatal crash, and most of all, the imprint of her foot still pressed firmly on the gas pedal until the final moment. All of it became undeniable evidence. Authorities were certain this was not an accidental act of negligence but a deliberate, calculated, and heartless action that claimed the lives of Dominic and Davion. On November 4, 2022, authorities officially arrested Mackenzie Shirilla and charged her with more than 12 offenses, including 4 counts of aggravated assault, 4 counts of vehicular harm, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of possession of a prohibited substance, and 1 count of possessing a dangerous instrument. Since she was only 17 at the time of the incident, Mackenzie was placed in a juvenile detention facility. During the pre-trial hearings, prosecutors offered a plea deal that could have reduced her sentence, but Mackenzie firmly refused, and her defense attorney declared they were fully prepared to proceed to trial.
That's correct, Your Honor. I went on Monday and discussed this at great length with Mackenzie. The week before that, with her parents present, talked with her today, and it's her desire that she does not want to have her plead to 2 counts of murder.
And Mackenzie, are you satisfied with your lawyer so far? You can stay seated. Yes, Your Honor.
During the trial, Mackenzie chose to waive her right to a jury, opting instead to let a single judge decide her fate, placing all her trust in one ruling rather than 12 jurors. Given the severity of the case and the circumstances surrounding her actions, prosecutors insisted on trying her as an adult. despite the fact that she was only 17 at the time of the crime. During the trial, prosecutors vividly reconstructed Mackenzie's aggression and the repeated threats she had made toward Dominic, aiming to show how she reacted whenever she didn't get her way, or when Dominic refused to comply with her demands. They highlighted multiple incidents in which Mackenzie stood outside his home, threatening that he would face consequences if he didn't let her in, demonstrating a clear pattern of psychological manipulation and obsessive control.
Dom, if you do not open, you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking. Like, I'm dead ass.
What do you mean?
You know it. That's exactly what I mean. You don't even know exactly what I mean. You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious problem.
She had once threatened to break the door handle if Dominic didn't let her in, even pounding on the door while counting down, as if warning that something terrible was about to happen. Prosecutors argued that her actions and words demonstrated full awareness of her own potential for danger, especially since she had repeatedly threatened to use her car as a weapon, saying she would drive straight at Dominic while he was inside. Prosecutors argued that for months after the incident, instead of showing remorse or grief over the deaths of Dominic and Davion, Mackenzie continued to live a carefree and superficial lifestyle, posting TikTok videos, attending concerts, and even pursuing modeling opportunities. They presented physical evidence along with expert crash analysis to prove that this was not a random accident, nor was it caused by any mechanical malfunction of the vehicle. Rather, they contended that Mackenzie had deliberately and meticulously turned her car into a weapon, using it to take the lives of Dominic and his close friend Davion, an innocent young man who had merely asked for a ride home and became the victim of a senseless tragedy. The defense, on the other hand, argued that this was merely a tragic accident that Mackenzie had no memory of. They questioned who had actually turned the steering wheel 142 degrees just a second before impact, suggesting that Mackenzie might have reacted instinctively to avoid an unexpected obstacle, that one of the passengers might have grabbed the wheel, or that it could have been a desperate attempt by her to regain control of the car. The attorney admitted that Mackenzie had been driving recklessly, but emphasized that intent could not be proven. However, all those arguments were overshadowed by the weight of the evidence, especially the surveillance footage, which, according to the judge, revealed an undeniable truth.
The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Prosecutors emphasized that the video was the very reason they insisted on trying Mackenzie Shirilla as an adult, stating, "When someone drives for 4 to 5 seconds with their foot fully pressed on the gas, accelerates to 100 miles per hour, and then crashes directly into a building, the charge of taking another person's life is entirely appropriate." In the end, the judge found Mackenzie Shirilla guilty on all 12 counts. During the sentencing hearing, the prosecutor emphasized before the court that Mackenzie had never shown genuine remorse, a fact made evident by her behavior in the weeks and months following the tragedy. The judge then allowed the victims' families to speak and share their pain. The first to step forward was Davion's mother.
Yes. Your Honor, my name is Jamie Flanagan. I am the mother of the victim, Davion Flanagan. I want to share a small part of what we lost on 7/31/2022. My son, Davion, is and always will be so much more than cargo. He was precious. He was an amazing soul with a heart of gold. He gave to the world what he wanted most in his own life, love. The kind of love that would rescue a friend in the middle of the night, no questions asked. The kind that would protect others and honor them. He made friends easily with his infectious smile. He was a gifted athlete. He had plans to go to barber school and open his own shop. My son did not have a clique of friends, but instead was a friend to all. He would go out of his way to show love and kindness to others, including those that were often cast aside by society, the less fortunate, the developmentally challenged, the hurting, and the unvalued. Davion made sure that everyone that crossed his path knew that he truly saw them, that he valued them, and that they were worth his time. Davion and my kids have had more than their fair share of heartbreak, of hardship, and of loss. Davion was adopted with his sisters from foster care. They are biological siblings. We are honored to be chosen, or to have been chosen, to be their parents. Their forever family. I am devastated by the loss of Davion. The world lost a truly special man.
The court also heard from Dominic's mother.
I'm Christine Russo. I'm Dominic's mother. No one wanted this to be a murder or to punish Mackenzie Shirilla for this accident. But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that Mackenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case, as the Shirillas would like to proclaim. I want to thank Strongsville Police Department and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this crash. Thanks to them, we all know what happened in that car that day. What we don't know is why. I wish I could change this every day. I lost 3 children in that crash. Not a minute goes by each day that I don't think about my son, as well as Davion. My heart is forever broken. The cries heard from the Shirilla family and friends after the verdict are nothing more than a lack of remorse. Mackenzie Shirilla had a choice. Dom and Davion did not. We are all left here to mourn. But what Dominic and Davion lost can never be remedied in any way or by any particular sentence. On July 31st, 2022, I called Mackenzie's mother, hysterical with the loss of my son and Davion. I knew Mackenzie was in the hospital, and the first statement said to me was, "Oh, please don't listen to what everyone's saying on Facebook." Yeah, my son is dead, his friend is dead, and I'm checking on yours. Yet social media is what's important. Social media has made a game out of the life of Mackenzie and is making a game out of this heart-wrenching tragedy. No one can imagine the pain of losing a child unless they have lost one themselves. The pain is forevermore. Time does not heal this wound. Mackenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davion were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams. Mackenzie showed no mercy on Dominic, nor did she on Davion. Only God at this time can have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
Mackenzie's mother also addressed the court.
My name is Natalie Shirilla. I just want to say, am I allowed to address them at all? Sure. I just want to say to the families that I'm broken, sad, and lost, and my heart hurts for everyone, okay? Davion was her new friend, and Dom was the love of her life, and he was part of our family, okay? I'm just so sorry that this happened, and we're heartbroken, okay? And then, Your Honor, this was a terrible, tragic nightmare accident to have happened that she has no memory of, and she will never emotionally or physically recover of it. recover from it. She almost died too, and we're asking that you please not run the sentences consecutive. He was family, and we all loved each other. That morning of the accident, she called. I got a phone call that there was a car accident. Okay, so we went to the hospital, and I didn't even know who was in the car. The names had not been confirmed yet, and I'm going to cry because I missed Dom so much. We loved him so much. So I called Dom, like over and over again, praying that he was going to answer the phone, and he didn't answer the phone. So then I tried to call his mom, and she didn't answer the phone either. And I still didn't know who was in the car. I didn't even know if she was alive. I didn't know what was happening. So then we were in the waiting room, and then his mom she did call me, so I answered the phone, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even know who was in the car, like, what's happening, was that Dom? And she said, what do you mean, my son is dead? And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then she said something like, and now I have to wait until your kid's out of the hospital, and then I didn't hear the rest. I was like, we loved him so much, and I hung up the phone. I did not talk about social media. I didn't even know what was going on yet, okay? So then, that was it. So in the hospital, that Vitality post, I commented on that because somebody had called her a murderer, okay? And she's not a murderer, so she didn't even have her phone at that point because the police had still had it, okay? So I jumped on, and I was like, you know, she's not a murderer. She's more sad than most of these people commenting. She's been trying to get in touch with you. I mean, at that point, it was just an accident. So I commented on her behalf, not because of the modeling opportunity. Who cares about that? I don't want them to refer to her as a murderer, okay? And I don't even know how that comment had got on the phone because the police still had her device, and she could not access her phone or social media. That's why I did it. And I had called them asking if they could shut down social media because people were calling her a murderer and making death threats and organizing groups to, you know, take her out when she got out of the hospital and stuff. So I didn't even want her phone. I don't care about her phone. I don't care about social media. I just wanted them to stop calling her a murderer so that when she did come to, and she did come out of surgery, multiple surgeries, that she wouldn't see all these people calling her a murderer because she would never, ever, ever murder the love of her life. Okay? For Halloween, for 3 months after the accident, she would only wear his clothes. She would only eat the snacks he ate. She would only listen to the music he wrote, okay? So she was crying for 3 months. So her friends asked if she wanted to go out trick-or-treating or Halloween, and it was at OU. And she didn't even want to go. She said, I don't know, should I go? She couldn't even walk yet, barely. So I told her, I said, baby, please go. It's Halloween. You've been laying for 3 months crying, only listening to his music. Please go have just a moment of fun. A moment of fun. So we told her to go. My husband drove her. I brought her back home. She just needed a second of fun from losing her whole world. Her whole world. So that was us. We told her to go. And that concert she went to with Dom's cousin, Abby, they picked her up. They brought her there. That was Dom, McKenzie and Dom and Abby all decided to go to this concert together while they were in the hospital. She's like devastated and tragic. He was the air that she breathes, okay? And they went with his cousin. We spent all kinds of time with him after the accident. What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about her too.
Dominic, okay? I'm asking you for a leniency because this was a tragic accident that she does not remember. And Davion, he's a new friend. And I'm so sorry.
Does that mean his life is worthless?
No. God, no, not at all. They all loved each other. They all spent every day together. I understand what it looks like. I'm saying that it was a tragic accident. She would never.
Well, we're going to have to disagree.
I understand.
Right. And I respect your position.
I understand. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to address those. We told her to go to those things, and then she did go with Dom's family. So look at that. Don't look at it with look on that with different eyes if you can, please.
Those things are not relevant.
Not at all. But she's a good. If you would have a moment, all you would need is 5 minutes of a conversation to have with her to learn who she is. Just that you would just need 5 minutes to learn who she is and what she's capable of not doing and doing, and you would see for yourself. That's all. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I love you.
And finally, Mackenzie also chose to speak.
McKenzie, you don't have to speak if you don't want to. It's up to you.
I would love to.
Okay.
Do you want me to stand up?
You can sit if it's more comfortable.
Okay.
It's better for you.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away, and I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add?
With the guilty verdicts, Mackenzie faced a mandatory sentence of life in prison, with no chance of parole for 15 years on each of the 2 counts related to the deaths of Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. What weighed most heavily on the judge was the decision of whether these sentences would run consecutively or concurrently. She acknowledged that while the victims' families wanted the harshest punishment possible, the court had to balance the demands of justice with the specific circumstances of the case. In the end, Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to 2 terms of 15 years to life, to be served concurrently, meaning she will be eligible for parole after 15 years. Some supporters of Mackenzie Shirilla continued to defend her online, arguing that being tried by a judge instead of a jury was unfair, and that her actions, such as posting on TikTok or attending parties after the crash, while insensitive, were typical teenage behavior and not proof of guilt. Some even believed that Mackenzie might have accidentally pressed the gas instead of the brake, or that a technical malfunction could have prevented the brake data from being recorded. Overall, her defenders insisted there was no conclusive evidence proving that Mackenzie intentionally drove into the building at 100 miles per hour, claiming that the prosecution had focused more on attacking her character than presenting undeniable facts. However, the majority of the public agreed with the conclusion that Shirilla was guilty, just as the prosecutor had stated after the trial.
The intent was obvious upon seeing that video that there was only one goal, and the computer demonstrated that there was no attempt to slow down or stop, that it was full speed into a building, and said tragically it cost 2 people their lives.
Although there was some sense of relief when Mackenzie was found guilty, most members of Dominic's and Davion's families could not hide their disappointment with the final sentencing decision. They had hoped the court would impose consecutive rather than concurrent sentences, believing that Mackenzie had taken the lives of 2 innocent young men and deserved to spend the rest of her life behind bars. However, Dominic's father, Frank Russo, offered a more forgiving perspective. Despite the unbearable pain of his loss, he expressed hope that someday Mackenzie might find redemption. He said, "This is a tragedy for everyone. Yes, I lost my son, and that's a terrible burden for our family, but I don't want the rest of her life to be destroyed. That wouldn't make me feel any better." The tragedy of Mackenzie Shirilla serves as a profound reminder of how loss of control, impulsive emotions, and blind jealousy can push a person into an irreversible abyss. In just a few fleeting seconds, 2 young lives filled with dreams, Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan, were gone forever, leaving behind unbearable pain for their families, friends, and an entire community that once cherished them. This story is not only about a crime, but also a lesson that love only holds true meaning when it comes with respect and calm. If someone ever makes you feel afraid, controlled, or hurt, speak up, because silence can sometimes be what allows tragedy to grow. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on True Crime Documentary. If you feel heartbroken for Dominic and Davion, please share this video so more people can learn about their story, and leave a comment to honor the memory of the two young men who lost their lives in this heartbreaking event. Don't forget to like and subscribe to True Crime Documentary so you won't miss the next true story. See you in the next video.